Welcome to the Dart Fundamentals chapter. This semester you're going to build real apps. Phone apps, mostly for Android, built with a framework called Flutter. And Flutter is written in a language called Dart. So before we touch a single widget, we need to talk about Dart. Here's the good news, and I mean this. You already know most of Dart. If you're watching this in my IGME 340 class, you've already taken 235 and 330. But really anyone who's written a bit of JavaScript is ready for this. Variables, functions, classes, modules. Dart and JavaScript share enough DNA that this is going to feel familiar fast. I've been writing JavaScript for years before I picked up Dart, and honestly, it clicked in an afternoon. So this video isn't about learning a new language from zero, it's about the handful of things that Dart does differently. The spots where maybe your JavaScript instincts will be slightly off, and the 2 or 3 features that are genuinely new. Nail those, and you're ready for week 1. Let's go. Here's the whole story on one slide. On the left, the JavaScript you already write. On the right, the Dart equivalent. Look how much lines up. Arrow functions, identical. Classes, basically the same. Loops, conditionals, the math, all the same. The differences cluster in 3 places. How you declare variables, how types work, and how you handle null. That's where we're going to spend our time. Everything else you can basically already read. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and review the slide, feel free to do so. First real difference. Dart is statically typed. In JavaScript, a variable is just a box. Put a number in it, put a string in it later, and JavaScript shrugs. Dart doesn't shrug. When you say something is a string, it's a string. Put a number in it, and the editor lights up red before you can even run the code. Now here's the thing that trips up JavaScript people specifically. JavaScript has 1 number type, Dart has 2. Int is a whole number, double is decimals. 3 is an int, 3.14 is a double. They are not the same type, and the compiler cares about the difference. You'll get used to it fast, but the first time you assign 3.0 where it wanted an int, or the reverse, now you know why. And don't think the red squiggle as Dart being difficult. Think of it as Dart catching a bug at 2 p.m. in the editor instead of at 2 a.m. when your app crashes. In JavaScript, you've got let and const. Dart gives you 3, var, final, and const. Var is like let, a normal variable you can reassign. The one catch, once Dart sees what you type, put it in it, that type is locked. Var x equals 42 means x is an int forever. You can't later make it a string. Final you can set once and never reassign. Like const in JavaScript mostly, use it for values you don't know until the app is running, but that won't change once you've got them, like something the user types in, or a result you calculate. Const is also set once, but stronger. The value has to be known before the program even runs. A hard-coded literal, a fixed number. The rule of thumb, when in doubt, use final. You'll see const everywhere in Flutter, and we'll dig into exactly why in a chapter later. For now, final is your default, and const is for future constants. Okay, this is the one thing in the video that's actually new. The thing JavaScript doesn't really have an equivalent for. It's called null safety, and it's the feature that's going to generate most of your red squiggles when you start. So let's get ahead of it. In JavaScript, anything can be null or undefined at any time. That's why you've all hit cannot read property of undefined. It's the single most common JavaScript bug in history. Dart's answer, a variable cannot be null unless you explicitly allow it. String name with no question mark can never be null. The compiler guarantees it. Add a question mark, string question mark, and now it's allowed to be null. That little question mark is the whole feature. No question mark, it's a promise. This always has a value. A question mark, it's a maybe, and Dart will force you to handle the maybe. So when you see a red squiggle that says something can't be null, 9 times out of 10, the fix is just adding a question mark to the type. Quick one, and it's a quality of life upgrade. You know template literals in JavaScript, the backticks, the dollar curly brace. Dart has the same idea, slightly cleaner. For a simple variable, just $name. No curly braces needed. For an actual expression, like math or a method call, $, and curly braces. In this class, you won't be gluing strings together with a plus sign. If you remember one thing from this whole video, make it this one: named parameters. This is the single most important Dart feature for everything you're about to do in Flutter. In JavaScript, when you wanted named arguments, you passed an object and destructured it. Dart builds it right into the function. Curly braces in the parameter list means they are named. At the call site, you write the name, a colon, the value. And because they're named, you can pass them in any order or skip the optional ones. Required means you have to provide it. Leave it out, and you get a compiler error. A value with an equal sign is optional. Skip it, and it uses that default. Here's why I'm making such a big deal out of it. The very first Flutter code you write is going to look like this: container, open paren, colon, colon blue, width colon 200, child colon something, color width child. Those are named parameters. Every widget you build is a function call with named parameters. So this isn't just a Dart trivia slide. This is the grammar of Flutter. Get comfortable with it here in plain Dart, and Flutter is going to feel like a review. Same story as named parameters. Classes are where Dart starts to look like Flutter. The class part you know: fields, methods, make an instance, same as any class you've written before. The thing worth a look here is the constructor, because Dart has a shorthand you're going to see constantly. In Java or C#, you'd write this.name equals name for every field. That's boilerplate. Dart lets you write this .name right in the parentheses, and it does the assignment for you, one line. And here's the version you'll actually live in: constructor with named parameters, curly braces, just like before. Now you create the object by name: monster, name colon Goomba, HP colon 10. Look familiar? It's the exact same shape as creating a widget. Because a Flutter widget is just a class with named parameter constructor, you're going to write hundreds of these. Last thing, and I'm deliberately going light here, lists are Dart's array. Maps are Dart's object/dictionary. The big difference? They're typed. A list of string, a map of string to whatever. And the push method names differ. You don't push to a list, you call .add. Small adjustments and the editor will autocomplete them for you. I'm not going to drill you on collections right now because honestly you won't lean on them until a bit later in the course when you start pulling data from the internet and get back a list of maps. We'll go deep then. For now, just know list is your array, map is your object, and they're typed. That's the tour. 3 things that are different: types, declarations, and null. And 2 things that matter most for Flutter: named parameters and classes. Let me show you the payoff in about 2 minutes of real code. No installs, just a browser. So this is what Dartpad looks like. It's dartpad.dev. Typically, you'll start up with a main method already added here. There's 2 options under create. You can create a Dart snippet and Flutter snippet. We'll concentrate on this in a later video. For now, we have our main method here. We'll go ahead and do a string here. I'll say string name equals your name. Put a semicolon here. We'll print that out. So print hello. Then we will print out name. And that should do it. Notice how we don't need to add these necessarily like we needed to add in ES6 or JavaScript. And then you can go ahead and just click run, and your results will appear after a second or 2 over here in the debug window. For the next part of the video, we'll make a monster class, and this might not seem super important or very profound, but we will make a named parameter constructor. And this pattern you'll see throughout Flutter when you create widgets. This will help you understand what's going on, so please try to pay close attention to this one. Up above our main method, I'm going to go ahead and make my class monster. All right. Now we're going to give the monster 2 attributes. We'll give it a string name, and we'll also say int HP. All right. Now, this is the part that always threw me off for a while in Dart. Even though it's not that bad, it felt different to me with my background. But if you've had backgrounds in some programming languages, it might not feel weird at all. We're going to add our constructor here, all right? And this is a bit like that destructuring that you might remember from JavaScript ES6. We're going to give it 2 arguments here. We're going to say, or I should maybe say parameters, required this.name, and the second one will be this.hp, and we'll set this to default of 10. All right. So hopefully this part's a little self-explanatory. We're saying this one is required, this one is not required, and we're setting it to be 10 by default if that is not passed in. Let's quickly fix this typo here as well. It should be monster, right? And we should also have required here as well. Next, what I'll do is below the constructor, I'll add a method here called status. The status won't do much. It will just print to the debug terminal, which you can also do when we're creating our apps later on. We'll say print, and we'll say print out the name and print out their HP. All right. Now at this point, our class should be good to go. Now we'll go ahead and create 2 instances of monster. I'll get rid of this, and the first one we'll create is a Goomba, if you know Super Mario Brothers. So we'll say monster, that's the type, and we're going to say Goomba, and we'll say equals monster, and we now pass in a name for it. Notice we don't need to put these here like maybe we did in JavaScript. So we're going to say name Goomba, and we're going to say HP is 8. All right, so at this point, we shouldn't be getting any errors. You might see this underline here, and you also see this in VS Code. It's just saying that we haven't used it yet. So let's go ahead now and do our Goomba.status. And it's a method, so we need that. And we'll click run and give it a second here. It says Goomba has 8 HP. Great. So if for some reason we left off the HP, let's try it again. It should default to 10. Okay, good job. And then because we've made this required, let's see what happens if we accidentally forget the name. You can see it's complaining, right? This is the nice feature about TypeScript and Dart, is it warns you these things ahead of time, like not when you're actually running the app that, hey, this is required, but you're not actually putting this in here. So let's fix that. We'll create one more quick monster. We'll do monster boss, right? That will have a name of, how about Bowser? And we will give them an HP of 100. And we'll go ahead and also print out our boss.status. And there you go. Here's a quick preview of what we'll build in the next study guide. So take a look here, this text style widget, and notice how this looks very similar to what we just wrote with the monster. So this is why I wanted to show you guys this, to get a realistic view of everything we're about to make.